Hi, this is Randy Crofton. I go by R.E. Crofton when I write my books. I have a novel called Fortress Divinely Protected about a model church in the future, and I also have a work of theology on Bible prophecy. It's entitled The Restoration of Immortality. And today on House of Signs, Wonders, and Miracles, I want to talk to you about David Wilkerson. I want to tell you something that maybe you don't know, but it is the truth. I have no reason to lie to you. I have no reason to make it up. I'm relating to you by a person that I had met that knew him. And who was that person? That person was James McKeever. I used to get his newsletter in the 80s. I look forward to it every month when it came on the scene in my mailbox, and I look forward to reading it from cover to cover. And he was a modern-day Renaissance man. Well, he knew David Wilkerson, and they were friends. In fact, I used to have the newsletter where you see them side by side, but right here are two copies in which maybe you can't see it, but David Wilkerson, his newsletter is in James McKeever's newsletter called N. That's short for End Times News Digest. Okay? But they were friends. So in '87, I went to what was called an Omega conference out in Medford, Oregon. They had it at a hotel motel out there. And at the conclusion of the first session in the morning in '87, in I believe it was September, James McKeever said, hey, we're taking a break now. We're going to go to lunch. He said, we're going to just break up. And, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We're going to just talk to you and just have a good time, enjoy our meal. So I make a beeline. I'm right there at James McKeever's table. I'm right across from him. People are asking me questions. There's a little break. And I jump in and I said, James, I know that you and David Wilkerson are good friends. And I have a question for you, and that is, what is David Wilkerson's view of the rapture? And he goes, it's funny you asked that question. And he said the following. He said, when David Wilkerson had his vision, it was in the early 70s, he said that before he put out the book called The Vision, that he put out a cassette and he sent it out to like his supporters, okay? And in the cassette, this audio cassette, he's talking about that he sees the church going through the tribulation. Well, when some of the higher-ups in the Assembly of God denomination caught wind of this, they contacted him and they said, David, you can't put this in your book. You can't put it in your book. So David Wilkerson never put that in his book. But talking to James McKeever and asking this question, he relates that indeed, in fact, that David Wilkerson did see the church going through the tribulation. Well, I told some people through the years about that, and one person in particular said, well, I don't believe that. Well, first of all, I just want to show you, this is a picture of David Wilkerson in the newsletter, which he's writing about. And the name of this one issue that he wrote about is called The Moment of Truth Has Come. This is from his own personal newsletter that he put out at that time. So 4 years ago, I decided to call his wife, Jeannie McKeever, and just get the lowdown on this from her perspective. And so I was able to get a hold of her, and I said, Jeannie, I know that you and James were friends with David Wilkerson. I said, I went to the Omega Conference in 1987 out there in Medford, Oregon. I had a chance to tour your house, enjoyed the session. James McKeever your husband was a hero of the faith in my book. And I said, I just want to hear it from you. I said, from your knowledge, do you believe that David Wilkerson had told your husband, James, that indeed, in fact, that when he had the vision, he saw the church going through the tribulation? And she says, from my recollection, yes, that is what he believed. And so I just want to conclude with this right here. This is found in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but wanting to have their ears tickled, they will accumulate for themselves teachers in accordance to their own desires, and will turn away their ears from the truth and will turn aside to myths. So, if any of you know David Wilkerson, you know that he was not a kind of guy that would tickle your ears. But for some unknown reason, he did not make this something that he really broadcasted. Because, and the only conclusion I can come to is that he was a guy that was more concerned about the church walking in holiness, walking in righteousness, living out a pure life before Christ and before men. And that was a big concern of his. He didn't like apostasy, but he was not known for Bible prophecy. Although the book, The Vision, if you have it, or if you haven't seen it, you can pull it up online, and it is unnerving as to how accurate as to what David Wilkerson saw into the future. And I've got my first copy back in 1983, and as I read, I said, I don't see this happening. This is never going to happen. But as the years would roll by, more and more things that David Wilkerson talked about, that he saw in the vision, it came to pass. So anyway, I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not making up any lies. I'm just telling you as it was related to me by people that knew David Wilkerson. And I've given you some evidence here that he was actually a friend of of James McKeever. So anyway, I just want to bless you today. I want you to realize that the time is short. You need to seek God, trust God. This is Randy Crofton with the House of Signs and Wonders and Miracles in Spring, Texas. Thank you, and God bless you.